I am in a different place now. So I'm up north now. I'm gonna be doing my social distancing up here with my boyfriend. So that's nice instead of down south. My family is out at this moment, so then I would have been doing it alone. So we decided that I would come up here. We still need to get my desk sorted out, so I'm just filming in the kitchen right now. Yeah, so if you've read the title of this video, you already know what's up. I brought this with me. This is my notebook from age 15 to 17, I would say, where I wrote a bunch of stories in it, just kind of on the go. I would just carry it around with me and write whenever. And I know, because if you know me, you know I hate paper. So it may be shocking to you that once upon a time, I did in fact write in a notebook. I used to have one from 13 to 15, but even then I was like a very staunch minimalist, and I was like, I don't need to have all this stuff, and like threw it away somewhere. So I won't ever get to revisit my 13 to 15-year-old, you know, writings, but I have the ones in here, very well loved. I had to tape repair the spine. I used to have like a little ribbon thing, but I ended up using this thing instead. It's got these cute little like flower borders and stuff. Anyway, that's my notebook. When I was 15, I joined the writing club at my high school. I was too intimidated to do it at 14, and I was in that club until I was 17, when I actually became the leader of the club. Yeah, that was me. I did, in fact, lead a club. And so this is all the writing I have from back then. I think it's fun to look back at your old writing, because sometimes you're like, okay, that was really bad, but sometimes you can find stuff that's actually good. For me, sometimes I'll find jumping off points, so I didn't do a story well, but I'll think, oh, there's a way that I could do this in the future. There's a way I could take these characters or take this concept and elevate it. So that's really good for looking at it. And sometimes it's just like a peek into how your old self was. For me, I didn't keep a diary. When I was in grade school, I had a diary and I wrote how hot I thought this boy was, and I put it in my desk because I was a dummy, and a popular girl took it out and read it in front of the class to everyone, and then everybody knew, and he knew, and it was so traumatizing. And then because I was an asshole child, I pointed to my friend and I said, she likes him too, so that we could suffer together, which I thought was better. It was not a great friendship move, but we did suffer together, and it wasn't as bad for me, probably bad for her, because she didn't need to go through that at all. But anyway, that scarred me. I never kept a diary again. And so for me, this is kind of a way for me to look into a diary of my past, because I didn't keep one. So we're just gonna jump right in. I'm just gonna read a bunch of them, and I guess I'll put them in an order that makes sense for this video, and you'll get to enjoy it more coherently. So let's go. This one is called, this is very, very short. This is called Between a Rock and a Hard Place. You know when you feel the need to give up, when you just want to stop trying, but when you know that if you gave up now, you'd just be admitting that it was never possible, like agreeing you never had a chance. Yeah, I'm there. I don't remember being this sad. I don't remember being that sad, but I guess at some point I must have been that sad. I'm trying to think of, what I was doing when I was 15. When I was 15, I was like very heavy into an emo phase. That's when I got my lip ring. I started wearing like black caps all the time. I always had like, all black clothes. I had a Linkin Park chain wallet. I was listening to a lot of like Linkin Park and Static X and like Evanescence and all of that. Mostly, I think when I examined myself in the past, I had a lot of like body issues that I still kind of have, though I'm doing better since. And I think I probably didn't have great days dealing with that, and probably that's where this is coming from. I honestly don't remember being sad though. Now I'm like an adult, I'm like, what happened then? But apparently something I felt very deeply. So that's that one. This one has a date on it. Sometimes I decided to add dates. This is from December 10th, 2008. So this one is called Sympathy. It's ingenious, really, the subtlety in which a person is ostracized. As simple as not speaking to them, a slight, subtle but not obvious to most, the one standing on the edge of the group, the one who speaks but is never given a response. Somehow it's remarkably sad. The way a face can change upon realizing that they are being excluded, the mouth dropping, how they look away as if they never spoke. Everything said becomes terribly irrelevant, superfluous. They become an edge at the edge. Sad, I suppose, only if you can see the edge. Pathetic otherwise. How pathetic, petty we can all be without seeing the edge. Otherwise, it's called sympathy. I'm sure you're watching right now and you're like, wow, Liselle had some shit going on when she was 15. But I do actually really remember the moment of when I decided I was going to write this. I'm a person, and maybe if you're like a person like me, I always found it really kind of difficult to make friends in person. It'd take me longer than it took other people. So I've always been very conscious of when you're standing in a circle of people and like chatting and someone tries to join that circle and people block them off. I think a lot of people don't do this on purpose. It's just they see a person and it's not really a person they care about, and so they just generally don't pay attention to them, or they've had interactions with that person and they're like, oh, talking to that person is kind of awkward, I just won't say anything. I think a lot of this is unconscious, but I've always been very, very attuned to when this happens, possibly because I'm generally really attuned to social rejection, or what I perceive to be social rejection. And I remember being in a circle and watching that happen to someone and thinking about how I noticed, but I don't know, I either didn't have the drive to figure out how to include them, or I didn't have the confidence to feel like I could figure out how to include them. So it was just me noticing that they were being excluded, and that I felt like I was the only person noticing it, and that nobody else noticed or gave a shit. And it was weird, and it made me think of all the times that had happened to me and how people hadn't really included me, and I had just kind of faded away and like kind of moved on awkwardly and painfully. And so I actually do remember that. So I think it was, I had seen it happen to someone, and I remembered thinking that it was really shitty. And then I wrote this. I'm pausing to show you a drawing I did. So yeah, I used to draw also. Anyway, this is a drawing I did. I used to like doing really like quick, what does it say? It says, you morbid things, but not really. Yeah. Anyway, I drew that photo. Okay, this one is really good. It's not really good, but it's like really good because I know exactly where I wrote this. For the poem will basically say it, but for equal context, in high school, I didn't date anyone until I was 22. So I didn't date anyone in high school or in university. But anyway, I very much wanted to date people. It just didn't happen for me. And so I ended up writing this poem after like a girl in the writing club. She was like a popular girl. And we weren't really friends, but we were in the writing club together, so we were friendly. Anyway, she asked me if I had a boyfriend, and so I wrote this entire poem because I was so affected by her asking me that. Anyway, so it's called To Know What You Think or Know I Know As Well. I wonder idly why she asked if I had a boyfriend. It almost makes me seem shallow, to mind, care at all. Why did she ask if she knew? She knew, definitely. And why did I pull my face into that expression that said impossible, me? And somehow I know that she knew, yet asked as if she wasn't sure, as if she did not want herself to voice it, to think the expression impossible. Her? Anyway, I laugh. At the time I was really offended. At the time I was very, very personally offended. that she had asked me that, because I never, in high school, I had almost zero positive attention from boys in any way that could have been interpreted as romantic. And because she was a popular girl, I remember I just felt so personally offended that she would ask me if I had a boyfriend, because I was like, you know I don't. Because if I did, I would have said that shit. I would have talked about it. I would have mentioned it. So how dare you ask me that? And I was so offended for the whole day. Anyway, that's what I wrote, this whole poem. And you can see from how I wrote the poem, like I didn't have to scratch anything out. I felt pretty strongly with every word that I put down in the poem. Anyway, I don't write poems anymore. But that was the whole thing. Hey, here's something good. Well, it's not, this is actually really good. I'm actually like still quite like this. I've always liked this. But this is the opening to the werewolf book that I finished writing when I was 18. It was the very first book I ever finished. It was about werewolves. And this is the opening. And I think I actually still have this opening as the same. So yeah, let's go ahead. Dry leaves crack under my overpriced heels, and suddenly wandering through the forest with an abandoned leash seems less than desirable. Crickets chirp from the trees and bushes, and a mosquito chooses the same moment to attack my arm. Suddenly, I am hit with a surge of hate for nature that is further induced by a tree branch swinging back and hitting me in the face. I stomp viciously on a beetle scuttling through the grass. Yeah, I'm still like it. And I could tell that I was really proud of it, because I like cut it out nicely and put it in here and like printed it, so I could totally tell that I felt so good about it. So that's exciting. So what I'm realizing is that when I went to throw my old notebooks out, I think what I did was I ripped out the stories that I liked and I stapled them into this book, because I'm seeing some and I'm like, oh, like this writing looks so different to the way my writing turned out. And I'm like, oh right, this is when I used to write extremely carefully, like to have appropriate penmanship. And I'm like, oh, okay, these are like, I remember these stories for sure. So this one I wrote because I learned what a jawbreaker is. I don't know, some kids told me, I don't know if this actually happened to kids, but they told me that they would like put your head on like a curb and make you open your mouth, and then they would stomp on the back of your head, and they called it a jawbreaker. Anyway, I was extremely horrified by that, and so I wrote a story about it. So here it is. My back is aching and I have at least 1,000,000 bruises. I felt my jaw. It felt like I chomped down on a giant jawbreaker. Speaking of jaws, I think it is broken. Stupid seniors. Me being a freshman, I was already fresh meat coming to school. Then some seniors came up to me and asked my name, just my name, and it turned into this. I just had to open my gigantic mouth, and this is what I got. This is what I get for mouthing off to them. I'm going to be lying here for a while because Mom's working late. I rolled over on my back to expose my overly beaten face. I have a black eye, a real shiner. Well, I can tell if I keep opening this yap of mine, this will be a regular occurrence. I felt my teeth, some are chipped and have cement in them. This is so not the best years of my life. God, high school is only the best years of your life if you're popular or have friends. Well, it's gotta be at least 6 p.m. by now. Mom's still not home, so it's not like she'll call the police. Now I know how bugs feel when you burn them halfway, then stop. I wish someone would put me out of my misery. I can't even move. Wait, let me try. No, I can't move. I can hear sirens. Police are coming. I guess Mom got home early. There they are. There are the suits. Probably think I got drunk, then got into a fight with a wild dog. Specific. Wish I hadn't got into this mess. Wish I didn't have to be such a pest. Hope I get out of this easily. Hope Mom doesn't notice my bleeding knee. I think I did this thing for a while where I felt the end of all stories had to rhyme, and so I would find a way to force the rhyme no matter what. I didn't explain the rest of that story. I didn't say what he said. For some reason, I do remember that it was meant to be a he. I think I didn't think this was a thing that would ever happen to a girl for some reason. But yeah, if somebody stomps on your face, probably not your fault. Probably a thing they did. I think I wrote this when I was 13 though. This feels like it has the feel of something I wrote when I was 13. Because it feels like I wasn't in high school yet. Or maybe it was when I was fresh, when I was 14. I don't know. Anyway, that was that. There's not much more, so I think I'm gonna end it with that. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you liked listening to me read things from when I was a teenager, I do have stories on my computer from when I was in university, so if you want to hear me read those, comment below and maybe I'll make another video doing that. What sort of things did you write about when you were a teenager? Or if you're still a teenager, what sort of things do you write about today? I think that'd be interesting if you commented and shared that with us. And yeah, if you haven't subscribed to my channel already, please subscribe below. I post all sorts of writing advice and publishing advice and writing related things, and you can check all of those out. And yeah, that's about it. Subscribe. Oh, and like this video. Please like this video also. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.